it's funny because, I've been bullied and people said a lot of not nice things about me throughout my life. And I've come to the point that I don't really, yeah, I care that for the positives, and if it's constructive, I can take in the less positive. But at the end of the day, it's about me being able to look myself in the eye and know that I did my best, or know that what I did wrong and what I have to do better, and don't blame other people for the way I react. And besides, I've learned that people's opinion only matters if the people having the opinion matters.
The three of us, I mean, we might be derived from somewhere near, because you come from the UK and I come from the Netherlands, and you come from from Denmark, but still we have such, but similar, although very similar and very comparable views. And I mean, obviously we can talk to each other in a similar language.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We can feel we can all feel we've all got discernment. This is the thing, we've all got discernment, and we've all got an instinct for what the right path is. We've all got an instinct.
I think I want to thank you. I want to thank you for pointing that out, because I didn't know that I was searching for that, but this is actually the main thing that brings us together, right? The discernment. Yeah.
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 I realized a couple of years ago that I've always had discernment, more than regular people, and that's why my friends were always coming to me for advice.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and then I kind of turned off my brain, and then I just answered them. And I wish I would have listened to myself many years ago, because I was actually smart, more than I gave myself credit for.
You wish you would have come to yourself for advice, right?
Yes.
Turned your brain off.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. I can relate to that so well. People have always come to, my friends have always come to me for advice. I don't have, friends around me anymore, but when I used to have friends around me in the three-dimensional world, they used to come to me for advice all the time. And I do still have people call me because they say that whatever it is that they're dealing with, that they can't deal with, if they call me up, they always feel like they feel better afterwards. I can always make them see it from a different point of view or whatever. And now I've just forgotten what I was going to fucking say. No, yeah.
Well, you were starting this thing that people always called you up for a reason, like they always want, like you knew more.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the thing is, like Vividness says, it's not like I knew anything. It's just when they came and talked to me, I knew what to say to them.
Yeah.
It's like I got a download or a channel. Like I was channeling. Maybe I'm channeling when it happens. Because if you ask me afterwards what I'd said, I'd be like, I've got absolutely no fucking idea what I just said to you, man. I'm sorry, I don't know.
And when they will tell you what you said to them, it will sound even profounder to you.
You'll be like, wow, that was really. But I cannot take my own. Like, I never came to myself for advice, or I never took my own advice. I was a bit of a hypocrite.
Exactly.
I tell people to do that. They should do things.
That's what I've been thinking. I wish someone had pointed out to me that maybe I should listen to myself.
Practice what you preach, isn't it? It's about practicing what you preach. I mean, I've been trying over the last few years. No, so go ahead.
It's so hard. It's so hard to
even
practice
when my
what you
life
preach.
was fucked up. Yeah.
It's so hard to practice what you preach.
But
So therefore, I don't do anything anymore. I just preach.
But you know why that is? You know why it's hard to practice what you preach? Because we still get lost in the moment, right?
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in this observer, taking this observer perspective of life and of ourselves and our own actions. We spend a lot of time reflecting on our own actions, on things that have happened, on conversations, especially, you know, when there's been emotions involved. We're always reflecting all the time, but in the moment, it's difficult. And afterwards, we then got popped back up into that observer role and go, "Oh, you dickhead! You didn't. Why don't you follow your own advice? You've just gone and done exactly the same thing."
If you would have seen it from like a slightly elevated view, you would have made such different choices.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because you know what you should have done, because you were able to give advice, poignant, profound advice to people. But in the moment, you forget it. It all goes out. Your ego takes over. Emotions take over.
Oh, you still have an ego, huh? Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. No.
Dude,
I mean, no, but dude, the ego, it's like some people address the ego like it's something wrong, but it's not.
No, the ego is essential.
Yeah.
Absolutely essential. You can't be without your ego.
Exactly.
The people that think that you should get
rid
of your ego.
People think that the ego should be eliminated. They are your enemy, okay?
Yeah.
And even if they don't know it, but ego is such a bad thing. Well, why? Well, usually they cannot explain to you why ego is a bad thing. You know, so
the thing is, it's like getting a computer and stripping out the operating system. It's not going to fucking operate, is it? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
You might be able to store a lot of information on it. It might have a lot of historical information stored on it, and it might be extremely powerful. But without the operating system, it can't do shit.
IPU. You don't have an IPU, and therefore you don't have an IP, and therefore you are nobody. That
So the human avatar, these bodies, they need the operating system, because the soul can't drive this body. The spirit can't drive this body. It has to be something that I get really excited about it when I think about it. It's like this avatar was created, this kind of biological robot. Basically, it was created, and as a result, as a natural result, because of the self-awareness, because of being sentient, an ego develops. You're not born with an ego develops over time.
Yeah.
Like 3-year-old, a 3-year-old, the ego starts coming out. Like that's why I like 2 and 3 years old. Like from the age of 2, babies are boring. To me, babies were always boring. But 2, or older than 2, 3, 4, that's when the personality starts coming out. Well, what is the personality? That's the freaking ego.
Yeah.
And it's either. Like I was, mine was always reinforced by my parents. My parents always reinforced my ego, like always praising.
What's your age,
how talented.
Richie?
I'm 45.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So you're pretty much raised in the 70s too.
Yeah,
right?
Well, 80s, more the 80s. I was born in 77.
Yeah, but the early years.
I remember the 70s though. I can remember
the early
back
years
to being...
were in the 70s. I mean, that's...
Yeah, the first 3 years of my life, like really important time in your life, isn't it? The first 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say the first 7 years or the first 11 years, but the first 3 years are incredibly important. And yeah, that they were in the 70s, born into a Labour government.
Yeah.
When everything was really shit as well. That was when Margaret Thatcher took over. It's 1977. She took over Conservatives, and then they won in 78, didn't they? Won the election in 78, and then
I want my money back.
But it's funny, isn't it? Like, I was so young, but I can remember when they were closing down the mines, all the arguments with, you know, Arthur Scargill, all of that stuff that was going on. I remember the politics in 1980. I was 3 years old. I was 3 years old.
Yeah, I was 8 years old at the time, but I do too. And it was all about the Palestine and all about like Israel,
the IRA,
Syria, and like there was
IRA.
always war, right? And the IRA, indeed, in that time was a very big thing. The Irish, and there was a very big thing.
Mate, the IRA was huge.
Dude, all the bombings that
we were
went
getting
on in Ireland.
England was getting like terror attacks regularly, and in Northern Ireland, terror attacks, and like so
constantly.
All this war on terror that they, you know, when 9/11 happened, and they're like, right, oh my god, terrorism's so bad. We're like, dude, hang on a second, mate. We've been dealing with terrorism for the last 30 years in the UK.
There was orphans in Ireland, you know, walking without any shoes on their feet at the time, in the 80s. Oh, my